This is one of the most awaited IPOs of 2020 and it comes right before the holiday season. What is up everyone, it's Alex here. Today we're gonna talk about all things Snowflake, future ticker symbol SNOW, its IPO, Warren Buffett investing in this IPO and a lot more, so let's do it. Here's how this video is going to be structured. In part 1 we're gonna have an overview of Snowflake. Then in part 2, we're going to talk about the IPO and the hype around the IPO. In part 3, we're going to cover Berkshire's investment in Snow. And finally, we're going to cover if we should buy in or if we should skip this one. Let's start with part 1, an overview of Snowflake. Before we invest in Snowflake, we got to understand what Snowflake does as a company, at least on a surface level, because otherwise we risk getting burned in the process and we are no different than gamblers. Snowflake is an analytic data warehouse provided as software as a service or SaaS. Snowflake was founded to combine 3 separate data functions: data storage, data compute, and cloud services into a data cloud system that would enable businesses to simultaneously access common data sets for various numbers of users without delay. Snowflake's data cloud system builds on top of Amazon's AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud, giving companies the ability to run real-time analytics on customers' investments and then make decisions based on those analytics and those results. Here's in a nutshell how Snowflake makes money. Snowflake operates as a pay-as-you-go service, and in most cases, the customers only pay when they are using the resources. There are 4 different Snowflake editions, and customers can either buy the service on demand or through prepaid capacity. On top of this, Snowflake has a very powerful network effect because the data that's stored on Snowflake's platform can be shared across and between organizations on that platform. Alright, this was the most difficult part of this video, by far. So let's take a breath, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, alright, and then let's move on. Now let's move on to part 2 and talk about the IPO and the hype around the IPO. The IPO date is going to be Tuesday, September 15th, 2020, and the price range per share is going to be between $75 and $85, and the most likely price that's going to be the IPO price is going to be $80 per share. At least that's what they are looking for. Here are a few reasons why so many people are hyped about this IPO. The revenue growth for Snowflake sits at 121%. The number of customers doubled over the past 12 months. Snowflake has a revenue retention rate of 150% plus. The management currently owns over a third of the company, which is amazing. That's what we would like to look for. We would like to have management that owns a bunch of the company's stock, because that means that they are interested in the company being successful. And pre-IPO, the company has $887 million in cash and no long-term debt. Snowflake has 2 types of shares, Class A shares and Class C shares. The Class A shares only have 1 voting right per share, while Class C shares have 10 voting rights per share. And the IPO is done only for Class A shares because Class C shares are only held by insiders controlling the company. So for the IPO, Snowflake is offering 28 million shares at around $80 per share, therefore raising about $2.2 billion in total. On top of all the hype around the company is incredible technology and growth, Warren Buffett and Salesforce are also buying into this IPO, with Warren Buffett being the most controversial investor in this IPO. Because whenever you heard Warren Buffett in the past talking about IPO, the IPO for him meant it's probably overpriced. So it is an event that he is considering investing in Snowflake and considering investing in a company that's currently losing money, which we haven't seen him done so in a while. Now let's talk about Berkshire's investment in Snowflake. Both Salesforce and Berkshire Hathaway agreed each to buy $250 million worth of Class A Snowflake shares at the IPO price. Remember, the Class A shares are the ones that provide only one voting right per share, which is a bit intriguing because usually when Berkshire Hathaway invests in companies, they like to have a voice in that company. So with the Class 1 shares and with $250 million, I don't know if they have much of an influence on the decisions that are going to be taken in Snowflake. In addition, Berkshire Hathaway agreed to buy an additional 4 million shares in a secondary transaction from an insider at the same IPO price that's going to be probably $80, which is going to be another about $323 million invested in Snowflake, totaling about $570 million. If we take into consideration the initial $250 million investment together with the second $323 million investment. In any case, the total $570 million investment represents, and drum roll please, 0.37% of Berkshire Hathaway's current cash position. Not so glamorous anymore, mate? So finally, should we buy in? Before running like madmen to buy this IPO, let's make sure that we understand more than on a surface level what Snowflake does as a company. Just because Berkshire Hathaway or Warren Buffett is invested in Snowflake, it doesn't mean that we also have to be invested in Snowflake. Also, if you were to match his allocation, feel free to do so. Even if you and I decide to invest 0.37% of our cash position, or heck, even of our net worth, and this entire fiasco goes to bust, I don't think that we are going to lose sleep over. You always gotta put things into perspective. For Berkshire Hathaway, $570 million is basically pizza money. But for you and me and everyone watching this video, this could basically mean that we could all retire together forever for generations on a beach or on a private island that we can buy with some of the proceeds. I myself will probably not touch this IPO, even though Warren Buffett invested in it or Berkshire Hathaway invested in it. But for you, this could be different because you probably understand more about the company than I do. You probably feel more confident about the future potential of this company, and you feel that you buy it with a reasonable margin of safety that's going to give you the ability to benefit for a tremendous growth over the long term. And heck, this is probably going to be my loss and your win. But in any case, it's going to be for you to decide what to do, and I was here to give you some of the facts to help you make this decision. Alright everyone, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it useful. If you did so, all I ask you is to please consider giving it a like because it tremendously helps with the YouTube algorithm, and hopefully I will be able to reach a little bit more people. Feel free to subscribe if you want to learn more about personal finance, investing, and follow me on the path to FIRE. And until next time, take care, have a wonderful day, and don't forget that you are amazing.